Hi everybody, I'm Susan. You're watching my channel Canines First. Today's video is going to deal with the 3 different tools that I like to use for corrections. The first tool I have laid out for you is what is traditionally known as a choke chain. Of course, I don't like to call it that. We should be choking our dogs with it. It does put pressure around your dog's neck, but it shouldn't be for more than a millisecond. I usually call them correction collars or training collars. We'll come back to it in just a moment. I'm going to go to the next one now. This is a prong collar. That's what most folks call it. Sometimes they call it a pinch collar, or like my cute clients call it, the spiky collar. And then finally, I've got what I call a remote training collar. You might call it a shock collar, you might call it an e-collar. These are the 3 that I will choose from, and I want to tell you quickly about a couple that I always leave off the table that I think a lot of folks like to use. They're pretty common. One is the squirt bottle method, and I don't use it for a couple of reasons, well, many reasons, but a couple I will bring to your attention is because it typically will just leave me with the wet dog. It might be a deterrent for a short amount of time, if it is at all, ever, and then the dog usually gets over it. And also, it just doesn't have multiple applications. It's just kind of a one-trick pony for something that's going on in your home. And I've got really broad applications for these. And another one is a sound maker. I don't like those because they will punish other dogs in the vicinity. And again, because they're one-trick ponies, they have one application. It's usually to deter something that's going on in the home. It's got a lot of other technical problems with it that I won't bore you with, but I just want to mention those quickly. I like to pick one of these to start with when I'm beginning with a new dog. And I'm going to tell you how I make my decisions about whether or not I'm going to try a correction collar first, a prong collar first, or a remote training collar first. If they are young and sensitive and they don't have any training with either a prong or a correction collar, I'm going to pick the correction collar. So typically, if they're a small breed, or if they are a puppy, or if they're a larger breed but they're under 6 months of age, without knowing anything else about them, I want to have this to go to. If they have already done this, but they've gotten to where they've outgrown it, they're not sensitive anymore, they're very headstrong, sassy, I need a little more power, then I'm going to go to the prong collar. When they are over 6 months and or 50 pounds, the prong collar is probably where I'm going to start, because I'm just going to be beating my head against the wall with this. I don't want to have to use the pressure around the neck any more than I have to, and when they're that big and that full of themselves, this one is just, it's too much correcting going on to get the results I'm looking for. So this one is going to get me where I want to be quicker with less pressure. I don't like the prong collars that come with a quick release mechanism on them. If you do, if you feel like you can't use the prong collar without the quick release mechanism, then go ahead and get it. But if you can fight through the annoyance of learning how to put the prongs together, that would be my preference, because I feel like the quick release mechanism gets in the way of a good correction. You merely have to squeeze one prong to fit it into another. That's the way you take it apart and put it together. If it is a bit of a struggle for you because you've got an issue with your fingers, just get a little pair of pliers. It can be a big pair of pliers, but I guess all pliers are the same. I don't know. That's what I have. And you just give it a little squeeze. And don't squeeze it very much. I don't even want you to really see that you've made any difference. And then try to connect it again. You don't want to squeeze it too much, because then you'll compromise it. It will fall apart on you. But if you're struggling and you need some help, you can just squeeze it again a little bit until it's simple, or until it's easy for you to put it together. Some of my clients will then mark it with some nail polish or something else they find, so they remember which one they weakened, because you don't want to go around weakening them every time you need to put it on your dog. Okay, and just check it from time to time. Make sure it hasn't gotten too loose. Okay, because then don't want our dog to not have a collar on. And then I will occasionally choose a remote training collar for a dog that has had no training, not with a correction collar, not with a prong collar, if they are really large and really strong, both of heart and body, because I'm not going to be able to get through to them with, certainly not with this, but not with our prong collar either. I might try one session just to see if I'm right, and I can tell pretty quickly that I'm done putting pressure on that dog's neck because it's not going to get me anywhere, and I will go right to the remote training collar. And sometimes before I even get to know them, let's say if it's an English Bulldog, for example, even if it is young, barring any other factors like it being weirdly sensitive, I don't know a lot of sensitive English Bulldogs, but if it seems like it's a typical English Bulldog to me, even if it's younger than 6 months, certainly if it's older, I will probably just go to a remote training collar because I don't want to put any pressure on a dog's neck when they're brachycephalic and their sensitivity level is very low. Okay, so that is kind of the guidelines I use to figure out what I want to start with. I can always be wrong and choose another piece of equipment, but got to start somewhere, and that's sort of the deciding factors I use to make a choice. Okay, so I showed you each of them. I told you what my criteria might be to figure out which tool I'm going to start with, and now I'm going to show you how you put them on the dog. Okay, I don't need my dog just yet for a correction collar. I've done this on Instagram before, but I'll do it again for you now. You're going to take your chain, you're going to hold it vertical, and the ring on the bottom, you're going to hold it parallel to the ground. And then you're just going to drop your chain into it. And now you have a collar. Okay? Now Bandit can come model for us so he can help us figure out how to measure and order the right chain. We want to measure the biggest part of the skull when we're measuring for the proper size choke chain. Just like this, from top to bottom. And Bandit measures in at 14 inches. If I were to get him a 14-inch choke chain, it might be a little too tight. So I'm going to add, because choke chains come in 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Because he's 14-inch, 15 isn't available. He'll be getting a 16-inch. So let me show you what a 16-inch looks like. When we go to put it on his head, at the top there, it just sits there. Holds without any extra slack, or very, very little. And just pop it right over his head, pull those ears out. Now you've got a good fit. When you go to take it off, if you try to take it off like this, probably not going to come off, and you're going to torture your dog. So, pop one ear out first, and it'd be nice if your dog's head was facing down, but it doesn't have to be. And then, just a little bit of a diagonal, it'll slide right off. Good job. Okay, let's go on to the prong collar. Okay, now he's going to show you how to fit the prong collar. Oh, perfect, thank you. This is actually the collar I walk him with every day. It's a prong collar, like I mentioned before. And the way, these are going to come with too many links, L-I-N-K, too many links on them. So you're going to want to fit it properly to your dog. So get it out of its package. And you're going to put it around your dog's neck, up at the top of their neck. Right behind their ears. And wherever you can get one prong to touch another, you take off what's left. So he's got 2 extras. I'm just going to pop them off. Now it should be a good fit. Yes, I like it. Okay. So you don't have to worry so much about what size you need, although they do come in multiple sizes. I use 2 for all dogs. So about anybody under 50 pounds, maybe 25 to 50 is a good average for me, because I think under 25 I might try the choke chain or correction collar. I'd say about 25 to 50. I like this size. This is what I call small, but this is what Herm Springer calls 2.25. Okay? So the link and the width of the metal is going to determine that it's a 2.25. And it'll have, like I said, I think they come with 11 links on them. And then the other size I use for dogs that are, we'll say, over 50 pounds would be either 3.0 or 3.25. Doesn't matter, usually just whatever I can get my hands on. When I have a choice, I'll usually get the 3.0. And that will have, I want to say 14 links. Maybe it's only 11, but it'll come with as many links as you're going to need, and you will probably need to take some off. I almost always do. Okay, that was it for the choke chain and the prong collar. And this is a Dogtra IQ Model Plus. Mini IQ, sorry. Dogtra is the brand. Mini IQ Plus is the model. Here it is in yellow just because I wanted it to pop on the black table, but this is the additional receiver strap. That's for your second dog. The the strap that comes with the entire unit, that would be collar and remote, is black. And you can see how long this strap is. It will fit any dog's neck. If you've got a dog that has a neck bigger than that, then I want to see a picture of that dog. When I'm putting this on, I put it upper to mid, and I'm just going to push until it stops without much pressure for me, and go ahead and buckle it there. And he's got his head down right now, which is perfect. So I can see I'm spinning it, but it's still grabbing his tissue. So that tells me that it is going to make contact at all times. But I'm actually going to tighten it just one, just to be sure. When their head is down, that's when their neck is the most elongated and the less likely you are to make contact. And that's, of course, when you need them to come. When you've called them is when they got their head down smelling something they probably shouldn't be smelling. Okay, that's a good fit. Let me see. Put your head up. Show the pretty people. Okay, and when I move it, I get his flesh to move with it. That's good, but I can still adjust it without too much difficulty. And that's how I know I've got a good fit. Some of my clients like to mark them, but I don't. I don't know why, because I change my mind day to day. And they're always growing. So anyway, and you can cut your strap off if this is the model that you're using. I have these models on my website. Okay, is that all of that? I think we did it. Good job. Okay, so those are the 3 corrective tools that I like to use. I wanted to present those to you because we're going to start getting our dogs desensitized to them as we're going to begin our positive reinforcement training in the next video, but we're going to get them wearing their correction collars while we're in that process. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, I hope that you will like it, and I hope that you will subscribe, and we'll see you here next time when we begin our positive reinforcement training for pets. Okay, take care. I love you. You're a good boy. Okay, put it down now. Whee! Good boy. Oh, Mimi's going crazy.